Hey, I'm Chris, and welcome to your first Why Disciple group. I know some people show up to this kind of thing thinking, what does this have to do with real life? And you know what? Maybe a broader question, what does my faith have to do with real life? The answer, absolutely everything. You know what? Nothing else is capable of answering those fundamental questions that are burning in every single human heart. Why do I exist? Do I really matter? What's life all about? What happens when I die? What's the meaning of all this? What's the meaning of life? What's going to make me really happy? Now, you can distract yourself so you don't think about those questions, and we have one of the most distracted generations in history. You got your everything, your iPhone, your iPad, your fishing line. You can distract yourself so you don't look at reality at all. But those questions, they're always there. You know, I think that's why Jesus' first words that he spoke in the Gospel of John, it wasn't some lofty philosophical thought. It wasn't amen, amen, I say to you, some divine proclamation. It was a simple question. What are you looking for? And I think he asked that question because he knew he had the answer and has the answer to what every heart in history is looking for. He's got the answer to those questions that we ask. He is the answer. Now, I know for a lot of people, when they think about words like purpose and identity and who am I and happiness, the last thing they're thinking about is God. And maybe you're one of those people. You know, and when people think about finding their happiness in their faith and finding their identity in their faith, they might be kind of scared off, thinking, man, I don't want to be a religious fanatic or anything. So they end up being fanatics about everything else. And people live their lives as sports fanatics, literally crazy about sports. They live their lives as fanatics for some band or the latest boy band or whatever it is, right? They live their lives as fanatics for their boyfriend or girlfriend. You know, you complete me, right? But none of that stuff is really going to answer the questions burning in our hearts. None of that stuff's going to answer the questions that we were born to find the answers to. None of it's going to give us purpose in life. You see, Jesus came to answer those questions. He didn't come to make you bored. You're going to meet bored holy people. They were bored and maybe boring before they were holy. He didn't come just to give you some rules and regulations and some facts to learn. He didn't come to take away your fun. He didn't come to make you weird. You're going to meet weird holy people. They were probably weird before they were holy. Jesus said, I've told you these things so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. He came to give you joy. He also said, I came so that they might have life and have it to the full. Jesus came to give you the kind of life you can only live when your fundamental questions about the meaning of life are answered. And more than that, when you have the power from God to live out those answers. So guys, what are you doing here? This Why Disciple group isn't just something you do on the side, you know, that you fit into your week. This has everything to do with why you exist. It has everything to do with what you're really, really looking for in life. So we just talked about how following Jesus is going to answer our fundamental questions about who we are, about the meaning of life. But Jesus, who is that? You know, when I say the name Jesus, so many images tend to pop into our heads. You know, and with those images, we have these notions about what it might mean to follow him. So maybe you hear the word Jesus and you think of this kind of angry guy, this kind of rule-giving jerk who came to ruin all your fun and who they say loves you, but he doesn't really like you as you are. You know, so you think that following him is defined by all the stuff you can't do. You know, or maybe you think of the other extreme. You hear the word Jesus and you think of this really happy guy. So you think following him is just making sure you feel good about yourself. I think the whole world gets that image of Jesus in their head. So when every time the church comes out with some controversial teaching on something and says we have to live a certain way if we're going to call ourselves followers of Jesus, the whole world's response is, come on, what would Jesus do? Read the Bible. He made demands on people. Yeah, he comforted the afflicted. He also afflicted the overly comfortable. He actually wants us to live a certain way because he loves us. Or maybe you hear the word Jesus, you think of some grungy hippie. So you think following him, means being a semi-radical political activist, right? Or maybe worse, you hear Jesus and you think of the plastic guy at the end of your rosary and just leave it there. So that following him just means observing some rituals and having some relics from the past that were passed down to you from grandma, right? I was a youth minister in the East LA area for 4.5 years. There's a kid in my confirmation class who's now in jail for a drive-by shooting. You know what every gangster in the East LA area had dangling from the car windows they did drive-bys from? A plastic Jesus. Because they treated him just like some little relic. Or maybe you hear Jesus and you think of the image of the little statues you get in a religious article store of a guy who's playing sports with little kids. Of course, he always wins because he's God and he's 33. You know the end result of most of these images of Jesus? We've kind of cutified him. We've kind of tamed him. And we've made him so cute and easy to follow and cuddly that he doesn't demand anything, and frankly, it's boring. Listen, guys, Jesus wasn't cute, he wasn't tame, he wasn't safe. The real Jesus, he's God in the flesh. St. Paul said, in him we live, we move, and have our being. Let that sink in for a second. This is the power that breathed the universe into existence. And he's a man. Would have sat in one chair and fit there. Could have walked around your cafeteria. Maybe no one would have noticed him. This Jesus, this God in the flesh, he scared people. He freaked people out. I mean, he made people rise from the dead. Now, again, we hear these stories. We're used to them almost. But pretend you were there. What if you were at a friend's funeral and the casket's in the front of the church, you're mourning in the front pew? Some guy walks in the back, opens the door and says, "Ralph, get up." And Ralph sits up in his casket. You completely freak out, and rightly so. And yet this Jesus, this mighty God who can make someone get up from the dead just by saying, "Get up," this power that breathed the universe into existence, he had a way of making himself totally, 100% accessible to everybody. He called us friends. When you think about who Jesus really is, guys, there's no journey that could be more exciting than the thought of following this God-man. This power of love that created everything, that made space and time so he could put you in it. That power of love that's greater than the entire ocean. It's all aimed at you right now, inviting you to live like him. Now look, if you showed up to your discipleship group thinking, "Man, I don't want to give my time to yet another boring class where I just got to learn some facts and figures and rules and regulations that I'm not actually applying to real life," you know what? Good. I'm glad you thought that, because we don't want to waste our time with that either. Your adult leader and mentor who showed up, he doesn't want to waste his time with that. She doesn't want to waste her time with that. Frankly, I'm not making this video right now to waste time doing that. But if this is about following the God of the universe, calling him friend, becoming like him, learning to live life to the full, and doing that as you form deep friendships that are actually becoming bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood with the people around you, man, if that's what this is all about, if you do this right, hold on to your seats. What lies ahead of you, it's going to blow your mind and help lead you to life to the full.